Like, think about your client 5 years from now. Think about them when their child is 5 or when their kid is graduating high school. How much are you actually contributing to their legacy, their actual legacy?
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Edit Weekly. I am Amanda from Seattle.
And I'm Whitney from Minneapolis.
And today we have the most amazing photographer to talk with us, Ambreia Turner. She came and visited us in season 1. And if you have not watched or listened to that episode, you need to go back and do yourself a favor, because that episode is, I think, my number one favorite of every episode we have done. There is just so much amazing content, not just from a photographer standpoint, but from human beings and just humanity. There is just, I don't know, I constantly think about it. I pull quotes from it all the time. So do yourself a favor and go back and listen to that. And then come back here and check out this new episode where Ambreia wants to talk about a few different things that she's got going on this year and amazing things she's got for some beginning photographers too. So first, I want to say thank you so much for coming on again. We are so excited. Whitney and I were like giggling and like so excited, like clapping when we were
I have
yes,
been
it's
so
Yes.
excited and so giddy. I'm so happy to be back.
Yay. Okay, so for anybody that is not familiar with all the stuff we discussed in the first episode with you, I just want you to give everybody a quick recap of what type of photography you do, when you started, where you're located, just kind of a little bio.
Wonderful. So I'm Ambreia. I am the owner and lead photographer for Ambreia Artistry Photography, located in the beautiful DC metropolitan area. So I service DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I photograph expectant moms and new mommies, and I help them cherish their most beautiful beginning memories of becoming a mom and the bond that they have with their babies.
Love it. Your work is so beautiful. I'm like
Thank
just always
you.
like scrolling through your Instagram feed, and it's just like, oh, I love
It's so
everything.
much
And
fun to create.
it really is. Well, and special place in our hearts for mamas.
For sure. For sure. It
Mhm.
is the single most challenging and rewarding job that I've ever had in my life. And so being able to capture motherhood, that's something I'm extremely passionate about.
So awesome. Okay, so something else you're passionate about, which we were talking about before we started, is photography education.
Yes.
So, yes, I want you to talk a little bit more about kind of maybe what led you on the path to decide to start doing education based things for photographers.
So, you know how you have that person that you call when you have a client that you want to like respond to, or that maybe is asking for something that's outside of your wheelhouse, or you are having a, problem over and over and over again. I became that business bestie for a lot of my friends, and I realized that I had knowledge, experience, and language around a lot of the things that we experience as photographers. Um, I think once I began to apply to speak at conferences and kind of like get in the room, I was like, yeah, I do have more than more than I recognize
Yeah.
to share with other photographers. And especially when it comes to teaching people how to photograph pregnant women, there are a lot of like do's and don'ts that are really unspoken unless you
Hmm.
are in the club.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
I would love to know what some of those no's are because I haven't done that many maternity shoots. So yes, I have never heard these. I give us some tips, Embria, if you don't mind.
All right. So I have two things that immediately come to mind. Sometimes when you are curvier, you don't want like form-fitting clothes, but form-fitting attire in maternity sessions just works so well because you got the roundness of the bump, the curves of the hips, and everything really gets accentuated. So I find that the bigger gowns and some stuff that's like a little bit more flowy just it looks a little frumpy.
Okay.
But also, with posing, you have to be able to give your subject some dimension. So, popping the leg and, pushing that knee out, will give her more dimension than, say, for example, just making her stand there like both legs together. She kind of looks like the letter P.
Oh.
So,
Yes. So
so
true.
those are my two tidbits. Don't make her look like the letter P. Give her shape, accentuate, the curves that are, already just making her just such a beautiful mom and a flourishing mom.
I love that. I love that. And the other thing I want to know is what conferences have you spoken at?
Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun just with conferences and conference season. So in-person conferences that I have spoken at would be the Photo Cookout, which is in New Orleans. If you have not been to New Orleans, Louisiana, you are missing out on a good time and some great food. And then the Peculiar Conference that is in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh,
It is so unique, and these people love, love, love education and love to help others advance their businesses. Um, I mean, I just enjoy, going and, fangirling over people like Sophia Barrett and, Tamaya Colvin and just being able to like be in those rooms. I learn a ton. I probably learn even more than I'm teaching when I go. So,
Amazing.
between leading photo walks or, roundtables or, breakout sessions, it's been a blast. I've also done some online, work with the Milky Way Retreat. So I taught for them in 2024 for their newborn retreat as well as the family retreat. And then the Mastery Summit, I've been able to speak for them twice. So it's been fun. Last year
Oh,
was a
that's
blast.
I know. I
awesome.
was gonna say, I'm like,
This
that
is-
sounds like a
That's
lot
a
was packed into last year in
So
2024.
packed, so packed. But yeah, that has definitely opened some doors and just even given me a bigger, kind of like network of other people that I can pull on for knowledge myself. So, I mean, if you get
Love that.
nothing else from conferences, you're going to gain some friends. You're going to find
Yes.
some people that, you can kind of like pull on their coattail a little bit and
Yes.
ask all the questions.
Love that so much. We just recorded an episode that aired this week too about photography conferences in 2025 to go to. And we super shouted out the photo cookout
We
because you
did.
raved about it.
I love it. I can't wait. It's
Yes.
actually coming up October the 12th through the 15th. So go ahead and start, looking at your accommodations and your
Yep.
flights because New Orleans is a time.
I believe it.
Yes.
It's so amazing. Okay, so you've spoken at these conferences, you have helped lead photo walks and different things like that. So, I don't know which one you want to talk about first, but you've got a couple of education things that you would like to present today.
Yeah.
One is a workshop, and then one is about in person sales. So, which one do you want to talk about
Oh my
first?
gosh. So I love business so much. And I feel like when you're first starting out, you focus so much on how to take the photo, how to edit the photo, how to book the clients, that you're not really looking at the back end of your business and
Mhm.
starting out in a way that creates longevity. And so longevity is a seed, and what
Mhm.
you plant, you will also reap that in the future. And so if you sow seeds of, not having proper invoicing systems, not, keeping consistent pricing, not holding people accountable for, your policies and your boundaries, you're going to reap some havoc later on in
Mm-hmm.
your business, especially as, your clients return. And so I would love to dive into the business side first.
Love it. Let's do
Yes,
it.
yes. And I think, I'm thinking about listeners. What I love about it is first, if you're listening to our podcast, you're starting your business. And what we're trying to do is help you start it right. So you are on the first step to setting your business up right. So you're not going to wreak this havoc, which is what we want to do is help you to keep from doing this. And you, Ambreia, have done so much and have so much knowledge and wisdom. So please listen to everything she says.
I'm
This
your
is
big
just
sister
such
in
a
business.
yes,
Love it.
yes. So okay, go ahead. I'm excited to hear all this.
So I'm really excited about the in-person sales education because that is my wheelhouse. I love marketing. I love sales. And I feel like so much of my path leading into starting my own business was centered around sales, service, and marketing. I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but you know what? I think I did. I sold diamonds at one point in time when I was in college, and I worked
Actually, I don't think
for
you
I
did.
don't
I
think you
didn't know about
did.
this. So there we go. Yay,
Okay,
who knew?
so I worked for K Jewelers, and one of the
Yeah.
things that was amazing about that experience is that I was joining people at a time that was so happy for them. They were
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
celebrating. They were either celebrating Mother's Day, an engagement, a birthday, an anniversary, just because. And so I learned the art of selling without selling. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a McDonald's exchange. Go ahead. You want fries with that? You want an extra large? Like, you're not order taking, you're
Yeah, yeah.
actually servicing someone. And so I learned the art of getting to know a client as they were approaching so that you could disarm them, kind of find out, like, what did you have in mind? They're not always coming for the sale item, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I came in with an objective, I came in with a person in mind. And when you take that approach to selling for your client, you're realizing that you are, in fact, a concierge. You are, in fact, a person that has the knowledge, like you
Mm-hmm.
do with gemology or at Best Buy or at the Apple Store. You're the expert, and you can help them purchase what they already want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They didn't
And
come
then it's not
in,
really
but,
selling then.
and then
It's
it's not really
yeah.
selling, it's
Yep.
service.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Very
And
different.
so
Very different vibes from the two of those. Yeah.
totally different vibes. And a lot of people feel like, well, I don't want to do IPS because I get the X and I don't want to sell. I don't want to feel so, And it's like, you don't have to sell at a price point that you believe is above your value. But if you don't want to sell at all, then you may have a self-value issue, not necessarily I don't relate to people. I don't know how to tell people about my work, and I'm not proud of this album that I'm
Yeah.
offering. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, we're definitely like kicking the whole like sales spiel out of the conversation and just encouraging people to actually change the culture of their
Mhm.
business to a service culture.
Yes. Yes.
So awesome. And I so wish I would have had this when I first started.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
The amount of time I feel like I wasted just doing shoot and burn.
Mm,
It burned me out hardcore. And
Yep.
having to, once your business is already established and you've had these clients that expect that, and then you decide, no, I need a change and I want to do something
Yeah.
different and I want to offer people printed products to put on their
mm-hmm,
walls or books or actual physical products
mm-hmm.
to have people look at and not just live on a hard drive somewhere. You then have to kind of start over, and the clients that you've been working with don't always follow you because
Mhm,
that's not where you started out, and maybe
mhm,
that's not what they're interested in. And so then you're kind of starting over with trying to find some new clients that are into it. And so to be able to just start from the get-go with that,
Hmm.
I
absolutely.
so wish I would have had that.
Yeah. And that honestly is one of the things that some of the attendees of the Peculiar Conference were navigating. And I
Oh,
had this amazing idea to help people launch out with a sample sale. So that is one of the things that is going to be my mini course that is coming out May 1st, and it's going to be called the Sample Sales Strategy. It is a
love
quick,
that.
lightning fast, easy to implement, do it scared, do it ugly kind of boot camp that will help people just launch out, and you'll easily be able to identify the clients that are going to follow you as you're
Yep.
transitioning to IPS. But it helps you get your sample content. It helps you get your samples for your studio. It helps you like kind of decide what your clients are into without you necessarily having to start fresh with brand new clients that don't even know you from Adam. These
I
people
love
already
that.
know, like, and trust you. And so that is why the sample sales strategy is going to be the best segue for
Yeah.
people that are looking to, change the culture in their business, but also figure out what they want to sell. Because,
Yeah.
a
That is
lot
a
of people
struggle.
just get that analysis paralysis and they're paralyzed to
Mm-hmm.
even offer anything
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what to offer. And I remember when I was initially starting out my business, I mean, I think it took me 2 or 3 years to even get to a major conference. So I wasn't able to be on the trade show floor and like touch and feel different
Yeah.
products. Um, my very first sample prints were from Miller's. And, I went through a period of like exploring products, buying things that I kind of was like, they have this has um, a higher line item that is a better quality without me necessarily having to say, dang, now I got to take that off because I don't want to sell that anymore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been through all of that rigmarole, and I feel like this sample sale is going to be an amazing way for, photographers to just get their feet wet.
Yep. Yeah.
And I love
I
that
love
you're
that.
like, yeah, like just dirty, ugly, like just do it. That
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to start sometimes because you feel like you have to get it all right and it's all got to be perfect.
And if
And
you're,
then you don't start.
yeah.
You
And if
never
you're
start.
just starting, like you don't have to be charging $10,000 to do
Exactly.
in-person sales.
And I think that they are looking at the tippy top of the food chain, and they're saying, "Oh my God, like I could never charge $1,000
Yeah.
for what I do. My stuff is nowhere near that, quality. I don't
Mhm.
even, I'm trying to get out of auto."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can
You know,
still print those photos.
Yes.
People want that. They
Yeah.
want that even if you're charging a small amount to
A
be able to
small amount.
get them used to having those prints in their hand is such a big deal.
And
And
I
people
would
I think
say
are really going to want that in the
if
future.
you're looking to move from 200 and $250 per session to maybe 700 or $800,
Mhm.
this is gonna be
Yep.
so good for you
Hmm.
because, like you said, Amanda, burning out, taking on this, the clients that are just like back to
mhm.
back to back, it is literally exponentially more profitable for people to have a product line than to just book more clients.
Yeah. Yep.
And I
And
feel like we're at a point in time in our economy where you can't necessarily just go out and book more clients.
yeah,
Yeah.
you want the people to come back to you.
Mhm.
And that is what I've always loved about in-person sales when I switched over to it was that those my clients keep coming back to me every year.
Yeah.
They want the same product they got the year before. They want to update that frame that they bought with me with the new family photo. We're
Mhm.
gonna, and I remember one of the things because so we met Ambria really through Swift galleries,
Yes.
and I
With
know
galleries
I'm
so
like I
much.
gotta drop. I feel like I gotta drop Swift galleries in there whenever I can. And I remember Chris over at Swift Galleries was the one who suggested, hey, instead of just offering products, why don't you offer installation as well?
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is one of the things that has kept my clients coming back. Not only the in-person sales with the products
Yeah.
that they want, and they love seeing their images every day they walk through whatever
Mm-hmm.
room and they see their images on the wall. It reminds them of me and the photo session we had. But then next year they know they don't have to do any of that work themselves. I come over and I update everything for them. I had
Absolutely.
one client who we just kept having to reschedule me installing because, kids got sick and then, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
everything happened. And it ended up being like 9 months later, they still hadn't put any of the stuff into their frames because they were like, we just didn't get around to it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. The service that you provide to your clients, they will come back to you. They're waiting for you. They want you to do this.
Absolutely.
So I love that you are offering this and helping photographers get there. That
I'm
is
Yes.
so
so
excited
fantastic.
about it. I've been pumped for months.
Yeah.
Um, and like you said, they're not the expert. You know what I mean? Our clients are not our parents. You know what I mean? And our parents used to go and drop off a roll of film and pick up the prints and make the album. We're not living in that age anymore.
No.
Like
No.
we're not there anymore. And so, part of I would say like that language piece and the barrier that a lot of people, think that IPS looks like. They think it looks like, so I would love to offer you this 20 by 30 framed print with this very ornate bronze frame. It will be $1,100. How would you like to pay for that?
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my gosh, I absolutely love this photo of your family. Is this the photo that you would like to walk past every day in your home to remind you of this stage of your life? Oh, yeah, this is the one. This is my favorite photo. I have to have this one on the wall. Okay, perfect. What medium do you think? I've got this canvas for acrylic, and we could do a frame if frames are your thing. Well, I've been kind of trying to like get away from frames. They're kind of a pain to have to switch out. And, if we were to change our floors, we would have to change our frames. Yeah, I typically like a frameless option too. So let's do either the canvas or the acrylic. Which one do you like best? It's literally helping them process what they want.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I am sitting here as you're talking, thinking about what image I need to hang up in my house that I have not done. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right about the frame. So maybe maybe I want a
I
canvas.
know.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I also love too is like you were saying, when you're starting out, a lot of times you don't know all the products that are out there, especially if you
Hmm.
haven't been able to get to a
Hmm.
conference or an expo and get on a trade floor. So to be able to explore those and figure out which stuff do I really want to be offering? Like what stuff
Hmm.
works with the type of photography that I'm doing too.
Hmm.
So to be able to explore those options, I just think is so wonderful. And the way that you speak and the way that you are just, I don't know, the way you explain things is so broken down in a way that makes it easy to understand. And I love listening to you. And so, how amazing that you, as a beginning photographer, can come and any photographer in that stage of their business that
Hmm.
wants to go to in person sales. I just think they're going to have the best time and learn so much
Yeah.
from you. So, I'm
Oh
very
my
excited
gosh.
Yes.
for
And we,
I
of
everything.
and I
course,
love
we
it.
will
I
share
love
it when
being
it
able to
launches.
help people create the business that
Yep.
will be
Yeah.
sustainable for them.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm in my ninth year of being a professional photographer full time,
Congratulations. Amazing.
and the average lifespan of a photographer is only 2.5 years because they burn out,
Because, yeah.
and we can't possibly service everyone at the level that they deserve if we're constantly burning out and getting a bad rep for, oh, well, this girl took my pictures 2 years ago, but I can't even get her on the phone and her website's down and
Mm-hmm.
I just want my digitals again.
Mm-hmm.
Usually people are not as pissed off about losing their digital images if you printed something for them.
Exactly. You've got that there.
If they have
That's
an
true.
album, they're like, you know what? It sucks that those photos are the ones that I put on Facebook are the only ones that I have from this session, but at least I have my album. At least I have my wall art. At least I have this.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not giving them something to steal from their, these kids something to steal from their mom, like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
what are
Yep.
you doing?
Oh,
You're
I love
not
that.
building a legacy. You're just taking pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
And that's
stop
so
charging
true.
with professional
Yeah.
photographers charge if you're not going to do the full job.
Yep.
That
And
might sting a little bit. Sorry.
no, it's great. And I think it's such an important thing because we are so used to being able to take photos with our phone, post them online. And I keep thinking about 30 years from now, 40, 50, when our kids are wanting these photos. I still love looking through my parents' old photo albums
Yeah.
and my grandpa. They're not gonna sit there. I think about my son Monroe. He's not gonna be like, oh, let me go look at my mom's old Facebook account and scroll
Yeah.
through all her.
Well,
Who
please
wants to
don't
do
look at my old
that?
Facebook
I know,
account.
Seriously.
exactly.
Please don't read those posts that I created.
Don't
Oh my
read
gosh,
those posts. I
mortifying.
was in a
Ugh.
different place.
Yes. My
I was a
gosh.
whole different person then. Well,
I was a
and
different person.
I recently helped out a friend who had her wedding photos taken and they were all on a CD.
Mm,
And she didn't have a CD drive on anything.
mm.
So I have a laptop that still works that has a CD drive. And
Praise
so
God.
it took a while, but I
Mhm.
got all 1,500 images off of there and got them digitized, like put them into like the format they needed to go to. But where else was she going to go to get that done? And that was
Mhm.
those were her images. She did have books, which is great. However, she wants another album. She wants an album that has
Mhm.
everything in it because what she has is like 5 books to cover the wedding and she wants just everything in one. So there's the other part of the thing too is that technology changes and media formats change. Who's going to have, who knows, USB ports might change into something else and who knows what
They
cloud
already
services will
have
happen.
USBs are already USB-Cs.
So there you go. So to be able to have that physical printed product right there for you that's tangible, to me that just means so much. So I'm really excited. We'll definitely share all the links for everything too in the show notes so that everyone
I'm
can
so
pop over
excited.
there.
And
I
Amanda,
want
to your point,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want my kids to try to go find my old phones
No.
to try and find those pictures. And if they
Huh?
swipe a little bit too far to the left,
Yeah. Not good.
might not end well. So,
They're gonna be real mad about that.
yeah, exactly. So I love that you did that for your friend, but I'm sure that, that is a lesson that we all have to, take on. Like, think about your client 5 years from now. Think about them when their child is 5 or when their kid is graduating high school or when they are, possibly burying a parent
Mm-hmm.
from that wedding. Like, how much are you actually contributing to their legacy,
Mm-hmm.
their actual legacy? I mean, a 21-year-old can book a birthday session and say, "Oh, I just want digitals." But you know what her mom's gonna want if in 2 or 3 years she passes away from breast cancer, God forbid. Her mom's gonna want physical copies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So true. Okay. I want to talk about the other part of your education here, which is the Capturing Motherhood Workshop.
Oh my God. I
I'm
am
really excited to hear about this.
so excited about this. I'm so excited about this. Oh man, motherhood is really my jam. It really is my jam. And capturing maternity photos and motherhood photos and newborn photos has been what has sustained my business all of this time. I never went into weddings. Everybody's second shot, but you say
Yeah.
that is not for me.
Yep.
So because those things have sustained my business and I've been on this journey of crafting my signature artistry and my signature poses and things like that, I'm really excited about doing this in-person workshop that allows other people to come in and see the subject the way that I see them and pose them and exactly like where my lighting is. Um, Even though I created a course for Milky Way last year, which was about becoming a one light wonder, um, you still, of course, you know, for virtual classes, you get those questions of, what exactly angle is like your light at, and where is it
Mm-hmm.
in, how many inches back, and is it to the left or is it to the right, or where is the light on this? So, I'm really excited to host people at my studio and, share this fabulous wardrobe that I have with them and lighting equipment and lighting lessons and, especially being able to hone in on posing. I feel like when you're building your portfolio and you're really looking to craft a specific style, and make something your own, workshops, they really help you to craft that signature look. And I feel like it takes the intimidation away.
Hmm.
Um, Lighting can be very intimidating, posing can be very intimidating. And like we said earlier, if you don't have the language for pulling out that essence
Mm-hmm.
of your subject, um, you can get stuck and you can draw a blank and you're like, give me just a minute. I need to change my memory card. I'll be back. And then you're
Yeah.
scrolling on Pinterest and you're like, yeah, this is the next post. Can you do this? Can Let me show you this picture and I want you to make your body look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I hired
Yeah.
you because you're supposed to tell me what to do.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about the workshop because I have seen the power of, that portfolio building workshop. And so I'm super excited to offer it. This is going to be really special because we're going to photograph all three of those stages from
Oh,
maternity
Exciting.
to mom with newborn and mom with a, 6 month plus baby. So I'm really excited.
I
Cool.
love
Oh.
that. Do you know, Ambria, when you're talking about how motherhood is just your thing, like what lights you up. And I was thinking about even when we were talking about in-person sales, it always turned back to motherhood and the legacy you're creating and their kids. And I just love that this is such a passion for you and it's what lights you up and makes you smile. And I just love to see you. First of all, I love seeing you do something, be so successful at it and doing something that just like brings so much joy to your heart. And you are now taking this passion and passing it on because there are photographers out there who
Mhm.
are either listening to this or going to come to your workshop and they're going to say, "She is who I want to be." And
Oh,
you're bringing this to life for them. So you're building your own legacy as a photographer by sharing this knowledge. So I just kept thinking about that. They're
Your
like
dog.
that's my
they're like
dog.
enough. That's what they
We
said.
should keep that in there. We should keep that
Yes.
in there. That's amazing.
Yes.
What a moment. And I have no idea why they are barking or who they are barking at. There's nobody at my door. My son isn't due home for like another 30 minutes. I'm like,
They're
whoa.
cheering you on. That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
They
They're
They're
heard when you're
cheering
cheering my
talking. They
cheerleaders.
were like, "We agree, Whitney.
Mm,
Our mom is the
Whitney, you're
best."
amazing. Thank you for seeing her for who she really is.
Yeah.
That's our girl.
I love that. That was really perfect.
Perfect timing.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Amazing timing. Whitney,
Okay, so
thank you so much for that.
Oh, no.
That has done my heart so good. Thank
Good.
you.
Yes.
Plan to host anywhere between 6 to 8. I think
Oh,
those are like the sweet
amazing.
spots. So it's going to
Yes.
be a small batch, which means
Yes.
you're going to get a lot of energy. And there's going to be so much imagery that, like when you go to a conference and like you got 700 people shooting the
Hmm.
same stuff,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's way different than when you're in a
Yes.
small batch and you're like,
Yes.
okay, how I see this and how I'm um capturing this and this angle, like nobody still no one is going to have exactly the same photo that you have.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's going to be good.
I love that. When we had our episode that we did about the photography conferences, we highlighted small conferences because there really is something to be said about having a smaller group of photographers to be working with and to
Mhm.
be in the same room with. I think that it can get really overwhelming for photographers really at any stage to have
Hmm.
so many other photographers there, have so many people in the room. So to be able to have something small and intimate where they can have access like to you, Ambria, to talk directly
Yep.
to you and to find things out and to get information from you in your studio. I think that's so amazing. And I love that you are offering this. And so if anybody is over in so tell us exactly where your studio is. I am not
So
from
my
the East Coast,
studio
so I'm like not
is
great about areas over
listen,
there.
I understand. I didn't know exactly where it was going to be when I moved here either. Um so my studio is actually located in Old Town Alexandria.
Okay.
Oh,
And we are about 10 minutes from DCA Airport.
Oh, wow.
very
So
close.
Amazing.
really, really close to the Potomac, really, really close to National Harbor. You could easily stay either in Old Town or National Harbor or, inner city Alexandria very easily. And it's because it's a metro area, like even if you wanted to stay in DC, you could kind of do a little I love to do like the little touristy stuff
Yes.
when I travel for photography, even
Uh-huh.
still. And so you could Uber to my studio very easily. You don't have to rent a car. And I'm sure that there will be some friends that you could maybe even carpool with if it's just a drive for you.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to host this workshop. The other cool thing is once we are done, shooting and posing and lighting for the day, we're gonna have like a little mini happy hour at the studio.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
so we'll get to network and ask questions and, pick each other's brains and talk about pricing. And so they'll kind of get to dive into like that business aspect as well.
I love that. The business plus also images for their
Yes.
portfolio too.
Mm-hmm.
And these
Yeah, it's gonna be
connections
so
are
good.
they're huge. Like
Mm-hmm.
um that's actually a big thing I think a lot of people don't talk about with conferences and stuff is a lot of times these connections that you make can be the best investment that you've done.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So, yes. So even like connecting with you and connecting with other people that are taking their business serious that are going to
Mm-hmm.
be coming to your workshop, like that's going to be a wonderful group of people to connect with.
I'm
So
so
excited.
excited.
I'm
I am
excited to
so
see all the behind
excited.
the scenes footage that I know you're gonna
The
Yes.
get. And
behind the scenes
I
is going to be crazy. I'm really looking forward to that. And I think that when you realize that there are always people who are interested in seeing like behind the veil, what is it really like? How do you structure this? And maybe they don't know quite how exhausting it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, maybe they haven't seen any maternity wall art in person.
Hmm.
So you get to see like the samples that I show my clients, the wall art that we have featured at our studio, that we will be posing our subjects on like our signature staircase. So there's going to be
That'd
some
be
really,
so
really good
cool. Yeah.
stuff.
well, and the other part of it too is I think at least from the new photographers that I've talked to recently, a lot of them start out really just doing natural light. So to
Mm-hmm.
be in a studio as
Yes.
well with lighting equipment and to have access to
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, that's just a whole other part of the education that maybe they haven't had yet either. So to
Hmm.
be able to get that from you and to see what that looks like in a studio space, not the opportunity to work in a studio space, just to see how
Mm-hmm.
different it is from being, outdoor working with natural light, and to
Mm-hmm.
see
How
not,
it changes your images.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's not that one way is better than the other. I think that so much of it just depends on what your needs are as
Mm-hmm.
a photographer and what you want to provide to your client. So to give photographers another option of like, here's what studio lighting looks like, and
Mm-hmm.
here you go, play around with it and see what you think about this, and here's how just changing a direction can change the image, change this light just a little bit, bounce this here or move that there. It's so powerful, and you can also take that and apply it to outdoor photography
Mhm.
too. And so I think that it's just wonderful that it's going to be in your studio, because that's an experience I think a lot of beginning photographers don't necessarily have when they
Yep.
first start out either.
I love that. And one of the reasons why I was not intimidated to lease this studio space, which has zero natural light, is
Wow.
because I
Okay.
was well versed in off camera flash and studio lighting. And so, to your point, it is really, really important to kind of have like at least a little bit of experience with both. And I learned off camera flash at the photo cookout in Atlanta, like the very first one,
Wow. I didn't realize that.
which
Get
is
That's so
that.
crazy.
amazing. So
Yes.
cool.
So
Yes.
full circle, right?
Right, exactly. I love that. Okay. So we are going to put links to both of those into our show notes. That way everybody can check them out. The other thing I want to talk about before we leave today is the podcast. Speaking of more more things,
Things.
you
Why
keep
do
adding
I
so
do so
many
many
Yeah.
things?
that's the thing. Honestly, you are living life to the fullest and doing everything with what you have, and I think that that is so fantastic, and I am so excited about your podcast. I want you to tell everybody about Joint Venture.
Thank you. So, the Joint Venture podcast is really a God-breathed mission that got put on my heart. In fact, he slowed my business down a little bit because I wasn't like putting it out there. You ever have like one of those assignments and guys like, I told you to do this, and you're like, but I wanted to do the comfortable thing. I'm more comfortable over here. So that was kind of like the podcast for me. I felt like it was an amazing idea, an opportunity for me to partner with my husband on something that could allow both of us to be purposeful, creative, to help other people, kind of get a little bit of insight on how to build together or how to support their spouse that might be an entrepreneur, or even how to dream together as a married couple, because sometimes your purposes are not intertwined right away. And so the Joint Venture podcast has been really, really fun to create with my husband.
When did you launch your first episode?
So our first episode came out early March. So it came out early March, I want to say around the 14th. So we are currently about 4 episodes in. We publish on Tuesdays, by noon. And it has been, a job that I didn't know was going to be a job.
It's
It is a job. It's a whole
yes.
job. And creating content for the second job when you're trying to do
Yes.
the first job is,
There's a lot to it.
there's a lot to it. It's a little bit nuts, but the feedback has been amazing. Um, again, starting something and doing it ugly and doing it scared and refining it as you go has really been our experience. We actually started recording in October. We were
Mhm.
away for a weekend for our anniversary, and that's when we started
Oh,
recording because no kids, no dogs.
yes. Yeah.
Um, and you know, telling a little bit of like our story and things like that. So, we've been married for 15 years, and we have 4 amazing kids, 2 dogs. We've done the military life. He has supported my career as an entrepreneur, and we've bought and sold houses together, moved states, which also made
Yeah.
me move my business.
Mm.
And so, being able to recount some of those things that um significant experiences at the time, but to know that other couples are possibly navigating those things, that is the whole mission of the Joint Venture podcast. It's to help other people have the tools to navigate, this adventure that is relationships and marriage.
Yeah, that's so great. So when I was a wedding photographer, my husband, we worked together for about 6 years full time.
Mm,
And after that, he still helped some part time. But it is a whole thing working with your spouse. It is a whole thing. And so I think there was nothing like this back then. So I think this is so good to be talking about and figuring out how to support each other, because that does happen a lot. It happens a lot in photography
it
as
happens a
well.
lot in
Yep.
photography, and I
Yep.
and I love that about our industry
Hmm.
specifically, but I think, eventually our heart is that we will create a community and a space
Hmm.
for those couples who are working together, but also want to keep healthy, boundaries and relationships within their marriage, and recognize that the marriage exists and is the focus, and everything else, and it is an extension of the marriage, not the other way around. Our kids are not why we are here.
Mm-hmm.
Our business is not why we are here. We are here because we love each other, and that is, how we should move and navigate all of the other things. But Whitney, that makes me have like a question for you, to know that you and
Yeah.
your husband work together for so long as photographers. Now, would you say that you guys had a different work rhythm and drive for the business, or was it the same?
There, we both had a drive, but I was absolutely the creative idea person. So very creative. And he would come with that, like, okay, we need to do it. Let's take it down a notch and another, another notch. So there
It was
was
the ankle
definitely,
weights.
yes, there was definitely that balance for sure. He did not have the same passion for photography that I had. Like
Mm-hmm.
I taught him photography.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and which that was the whole thing too. Even when we went to weddings, I was the boss, but half the time any man especially thought he was. So, oh, let me go ask Peter. And then then he would just be like, no, like, don't ask me, ask Whitney. She is in charge.
I'm the assistant.
Yes, I am the assistant. Um, because our passions weren't aligned, and there's difficulties working that closely all the time with someone. But that's why he didn't stay and I did, because he didn't have that same love. He was just like, "Oh, this is fun," but his love is music and sound, and
Mm,
that's what he's doing now. So it's
love
yeah.
that. I love that. And I love that the navigating, okay, what is the exit strategy?
Hmm.
How can we get you to your happy place?
Yes.
Without, sending the business into a tailspin. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
That's probably a conversation to be had in the
Yes.
future.
It is. It
Just
There we
is.
go.
FYI.
I mean, there have been like photography couples, and I know that's not
Mm-hmm.
what you are with your spouse, because he doesn't like go shoot with you or anything. No, no. I didn't
No.
think so. I just wanted to
Look
double
on your
check.
face. Like,
But yes. I mean,
Oh,
there have been
and it's
many.
funny because I knew specifically I did not want him to join me
Mhm.
in my photography business, that was my baby, but
Yours.
we
Yep.
needed a baby together.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, I have seen many a marriage demise with photography couples. So,
Yeah. It
yeah.
can
Hmm.
be really hard to work together. Um, and learning to separate work life
Yes.
from home life. And
Hmm.
I mean, my husband and I have never worked together either. Um,
And it's still
and
hard.
it's still we share an office, and that can be
Mm,
hard. We don't work
Hmm.
together, But come COVID, when he wasn't in an office anymore and I had to give up my space to make
Mhm.
room, that's a whole thing too. And, you learn how to work with it. And, like you said, it's you're there though because you love each other, you and your
Mhm.
partner, and you want to do what's best for that other person,
Mhm.
but you also have your own boundaries and you need things.
Yes.
Um and like you said, the children, you're not there just for the kids. What I find so funny is we just had this conversation with our kids last night who are 5 and 7. They went straight from, well, okay, so you met each other and then you got married, like you had us, and then like you got married and did these things. I was like, no, you didn't come
No,
first. Like
we loved you
yeah,
when you
we had
came
lots of things. Like we did a
before
lot of
you.
stuff before you, and it's so hard for them to wrap their brains around the fact that, wait, the two of you like did we like brought up like past relationships with other people, like, what, you dated other people? Yeah, we did. That isn't that so weird?
Yeah.
Love children. I love
Yeah.
children. They will humble you.
They
Oh, they
will.
definitely will. They 100%. So yeah, so I thought it was hilarious that they're like, oh, so you had us and then you did all these things. Now, and then when they look through our wedding album, they're always asking, where are we? I'm like, you're not here. You weren't here yet. Like, well, but why wasn't I there? Well, we didn't have you right away. Like we decided to do things in this, in this order. And they're like, oh, I just thought I'd be in here. I'm really sad that I wasn't there at your wedding. Like, no, I'm sorry. We chose to do things different. I don't know. Sorry,
Yeah.
kiddo. I don't know what to tell you. Next time. Like,
Next
That is
time.
hilarious. It's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The
I thought
children came
we
first.
were first.
Yeah.
We were
certainly,
first.
certainly feels like it a lot of the time.
Your marriage is nothing without us. What do you mean? You used to be 21.
Oh my
Back in the
God.
olden days?
I know.
My daughter loves to hit me with in the olden days? Wait a minute.
Back in the 1900s,
1900s?
you were alive in the 1900s. Like, oh my gosh,
It
that
wasn't it wasn't exactly a century ago. It was just last century. Sorry.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
They are ruthless.
They
They
really
are
are
ruthless.
wonderful and ruthless.
Yes.
Wonderful and ruthless little people.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. They
Oh,
keep me on my toes.
Yes, they do. Oh, this has been such an amazing conversation. It always is with you, Ambria. I feel
Aw,
like
I love
you
it.
are so easy to talk to and just, I don't know. I feel so warm whenever we talk with you. I feel
Aw,
like that's just
me
the best way. I
too.
just feel like I don't want a conversation to end. I just want to keep going.
Ever.
And
Really excited. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm happy to be back. I was happy to share today. Thank you for highlighting the craziness that is my life, but productive, right?
I
Productive.
know, exactly.
And I'm so proud of you guys. Like, you guys are
Aw.
killing it and rocking it and everything with
Thank
this
you.
podcast. So
I
thank
love
you
it.
so much for showing up for budding photographers that are in the hardest stages of their business. And once you get it
Yes.
going, it's gonna be fine. Once your
Yeah,
SEO
it's
takes hold, it's gonna be fine. Once you
Yep.
have your workflows, it's gonna be fine. Once you have your pricing, it's gonna
I
be fine.
know.
But getting there, that's why you need
yeah.
the edit weekly. That is
That
why
is-
you need the
yes.
edit
That's
weekly.
why you need
Tune
Capturing
in.
Motherhood Workshop. And yes, that's
Yeah.
why. That's why we all need to be supportive of one another. Really,
Yeah,
that's what it
it
comes
is.
down
Yes.
to.
Yep.
It just,
That is what it
we
comes
need to be
down to.
supportive of one another. We were all there at one point in our careers too, and paying it forward. And there is so much kindness to be given and shown to everyone,
Yeah.
and I wish that there was more of that. So anything we all can do
Absolutely.
to really show that to people that are starting out and letting you know you're not alone in this, and we
Yep.
are here to help support you for it.
Yep.
So, Ambria, can you quickly just tell everybody where to find you online so they can pop over to check you out?
I would love for them to join me on Instagram. That's where I spend the majority of my online time. And my Instagram handle is Ambrea_artistry. Even if you just type in AMBRE, I should pop up. I
Awesome.
should pop up and you should see Ambrea Artistry. And then for all of the things, joint venture. We have the handle Joint Venture Pod on Instagram. And so we're just, sprinkling our love and stretching ourselves across multiple accounts these days.
I get it. I get it.
What is a life if you're not living it to its fullest, right?
That's right.
Listen, I
mean,
guess
there you
I
go.
just want to be used completely up when I
At the end of the day, I want to know that I did live and do all of the things
Yes.
that I could possibly do. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would do if, like, same thing. Like, Whitney and I also have our hands in so many things, but what would I do otherwise? I don't know what I love this.
It's fun.
That's the thing. I think
Yep.
when you love people and you love what you do, it shows, and you just want to keep being there for others. And clearly,
Absolutely.
Bria, you love what you do, and it comes across. And again, go check out all of Ambreia's things, every single, like the podcast, the
love
Capturing
it.
Motherhood Workshop, the in-person sales course. It's going to all be amazing.
That is going to be so much fun. And again, I just want to bring as much value to this industry as I can for as long as I am. I don't know that I'll be a photographer forever. I hope that one day I'll be a retiree.
Yes.
But the way Social
We
Security
all
is
want
looking,
it.
we
I
don't
know.
know.
Yeah, it's not
Yes.
happening anytime soon.
That's a
I know that I
retirement.
won't be able to physically photograph
Yeah.
people forever. And so I feel like this is my, part of my contribution into an industry that has given me so
Love
this
it.
so much. Yay.
Ah.
Okay. I'm gonna cut us off now, because otherwise we will just keep going, because I know
will.
us.
It will
Like
start
a
back
love
up.
fest. We are a
100% do
total
that.
love fest in here.
Okay, so thank you everyone so much for tuning in yet again. We appreciate you coming along with our journey here at the Edit Weekly. Give us a like, a subscribe, and feel free to tell all of your friends about us too. We love being able to be there for new photographers and people beginning their photography journeys. We are your photo BFFs from Seattle and Minneapolis, and from the DC metro area as well.
Yes.
Here.
We span the whole United States.
We got West Coast, Midwest, and East all covered here. So thank you again, everyone, and we will see you next time on The Edit.
Okay, Photo BFFs, if you have not subscribed, do that right now so you never miss a new episode. You can also find us at theeditweekly.com, where we have free resources and downloads for you to help grow your photo business.